My fellow Zimbabweans, anambuya, anasekuru, vaningina, vakoma, neanjadzi. Our country is in a lot of trouble and we have got to save it right away. We are all hurting. Tukurwadziwa nezviri kuitika mumabank. Nhasi ndafamba mumabank ndikaona anambuya nanasekuru vafamba 2-3 days kuti vagariswe mubank kuti vatore $20 yepension vakwanise kudzokera nayo kumusha. Zvinorwadza. Our country is on the brink of a humanitarian crisis that won't only affect this country, but will affect this region drastically. South Africa would have to look after 1 million new refugees. The rest of the region would have to consume plus or minus 2 million Zimbabweans who are leaving this country unless we get on top of the ball. Our government has failed itself and has failed its people. Hurumende yedu yatadza kuchengetedza mapurisa edu, yatadza kuchengetedza masoja edu, yatadza kuchengetedza varume nevakadzi vanoshandira hurumende inovashandisa kunge imbwa. President Robert Mugabe and his government have got to go in order for this country to have a chance of survival. But you must pay attention to what I am sharing with you. The system we are fighting is highly sophisticated, educated, and well-oiled. Yakawina election muna 2013. Ndisu takavaisa. There is 25 months to go before the next election, and we have a choice to make. Either we organize ourselves and prepare to turn the page and begin a new page without a ZANU-PF government, or we will end up in the same box. It is totally corrupt the way the system is operating. Every time ZANU-PF wants money, they raise taxes. When they raise taxes, they simply take from the tax and they eat and they look after their kids. Let me ask you this question to the men and women who work in ZANU-PF or work for government. Upenyu wa muri kurarama imimi neupenyu hwemaminista enyu zvakafanana here? Chikoro chinoenda mwana wako nechikoro chinoenda maminista ako zvakafanana here? Do you really think they care about you? They do not care about us. They eat and they gloat, and when they're finished, they take the bill and they give it to the people of Zimbabwe for the people of Zimbabwe to pay. 3 million people voted in the last election. About 2 million voted for ZANU-PF, about 1 million voted for the movement of democratic change. But there is a 4 million block of people who are virgin voters that never walked into the ballot box one day. They're eligible, currently aged between 16 and 29 years old. This is a critical mass of people who must be planning for the future. Currently, we've allowed people who are not going to be in the future to plan the future for us. But it is quintessentially important we begin to organize ourselves to build this critical mass. Dream with me for a second, if you will. Imagine if we could create a country where we can have an economic reform that lowers the tax entry levels to allow more businesses to come into the market before tax comes into the market. An economy with austerity measures where government spends within its limits and is not always trying to look for money so that they can spend more on services that neither benefit us or benefit the country, but it only benefits them. Imagine if we could create a country where we champion entrepreneurs and small medium enterprises, create a business ecosystem that looks at a complete value chain of supporting initiatives right from the beginning of the value chain to the completion of the ecosystem. Imagine if we could turn the page and in 2 years from now, we could bring all our diasporians back home and we could put a good deal on the table for them. A good deal that says, whatever company you're working for, where you are, we will allow you to bring that company with you and we will give you the exact same package that you were getting from that country or from that company, allowing our talent to be able to come back home. Imagine if we could go back to global inclusion, where we understand that we no longer live in a country that must be fighting with everyone. We're post-1980. We need the United Kingdom as our friend. We need Russia as our friend in the same thread. We need China as our friend in the same thread. But most importantly, we are making deals with countries that we are actually committed to keeping. Finally, let me end by saying this. When we were born, I believe this is what happened. Every single one of us was given a brick. And brick by brick, we have an opportunity to either throw these bricks at each other or we can build this country. I know the speed of our security agencies to be used to come and attack us for speaking our minds. Let me ask you this. Before watumwa kuya kuzondituka or kuya kuzondirova, imbozvifunza munhu akutuka ari kukuchengeta here kana kuti ari kukushandisa. On Saturday, the 4th of June, I am bringing together young people at Eastgate Movie Cinemas. We must respond as a consensual voice. It's about time we move towards a generational consensus. The victory will be won by putting together a formidable, intelligent and sophisticated operation that allows us to contest in any election. Help me begin to drive this force. Join me this Saturday and we begin that new chapter of turning the page for a new Zimbabwe.